All right, so the first thing you're going to need to do is I would recommend open up the file and mask it. Now, I'm going to point out a couple of the things that I had little bits of issue with just to help you along a little bit. So let's start with, I'm going to show you what this looked like beforehand right there. Let me turn that off. All right, so there is the mask. Now, his ears, right along his ears, his neck, and part of his head, when I selected it, I had to go back in with a little brush and kind of clean up those edges because you notice it's not the highest resolution image. It's kind of pixelated. But right along here and there, it was kind of messed up. So I had to use a small brush, get in there and kind of paint a little bit. Now, what I'd recommend doing is go ahead, once you have it masked, go ahead and save it just so you don't have to start it over. So with this one, I'm in Cameo right now, so I'm going to save this on my computer, and I'm actually going to save it back into my G drive. I would recommend, just to make it easier and faster for you, create a new folder on your G drive, call it like hands-on, and drop the pictures into that folder. So right now I'm going to grab that one. I'm going to save. And I'm saving it as a PSD file. If I save it as a JPEG, that mask is going to be gone. Then just to save, especially if you're on Cameo, you're going to want to close out as many of these as possible, or else it might crash. And I don't want it to crash because that's super frustrating. I really don't want that to be the case for you. All right, for this one wasn't too bad to cut out because there's such a strong background. But just make sure as you do this, you don't end up missing parts of the hand down here. So you can kind of see my mask, very sharp, very clean. Then save that. Save it on your computer. I'm going to go ahead and save it into the G drive because that's faster for me. If you already have a cloud account and you want to use that one instead and you feel comfortable with that, go ahead. But I'm trying to make sure that, we don't stress out about the thing crashing, because it's been way buggier than I would have liked. I was told it was going to be better. It's not. There we go. Okay, so you're going to mask out the banana. This one was pretty easy because there's not really a heavy-duty contrast. I mean, there's really, the color is so different than this. So if you look at my mask, let me deselect. It's a pretty sharp mask. Do the same thing. Save that. Save on my computer. G drive. And not exit slips. Hands on. Save. And I'm going to click OK. I'm going to do the same thing for the balloon. Now, the balloon, there was a little bit of a tricky part right down here. I'm going to show you. When you're doing this, depending on what selection tool you're using, probably the quick select, you're going to come down here. Don't worry about getting every single one of these lines. That's too difficult to do. I will show you a technique. If you really want to know how to do that when we do our project next week, I can show you how to do the thin lines, but this one, too tricky. What I'm really looking for is I want to minimize the amount of the weird blue kind of edge, but I'm going to show you a way to fix that later on if necessary. But when I did this selection, this area up here got a little tricky, and definitely this area right here. So get in close and kind of clean up those edges just a little bit. I'm not going to zoom all the way into 400%, but you can kind of see there's pieces that are here. So you might end up using the lasso at some point and maybe cleaning out a little bit of the blue that's happening there. So like, for example, if you're going to do this without keyboard shortcuts, you can use this one to add to your selection. So I can go in here and do something like that. And if I wanted to do that, then I can take my paintbrush, make sure it's on black, and hide that out. Then I can grab the lasso again, add. And as long as I had that add, see how it's got the little plus sign next to the lasso? Kind of cool. I can go in and I can add a couple others. Something like that. Then I can switch to my brush. I know I said I wasn't going to give you a how-to. I just did. You're welcome. So that cleans up that little piece so that when it's done, you can kind of get rid of that blue that's there. Just keep an eye on all of these. Look at the edges. Now, the cool part is, since it's a mask, once you move it into the main image, if there's something that's off, you can just go to the layer and get rid of it on the layer. Just make sure, don't click on that part. Click on that part. All right, let's go ahead and save that guy. Save as. Save to computer. G drive. Hands on. Save. Okay. That's going to come up when it asks for maximize compatibility. That's just saying, do you want to make sure you can open this on an old computer? And you're going to say, yep. Okay, and this last one, we're going to use this one as the background, but I want you to have everything else closed, especially if you're using the Cameo or you're on the Chromebook. You're going to create a new blank document. And I'm going to do mobile. No, I'm not. I'm going to do web. And I'm going to do web minimum. But what I want to do right now, it's pixels wider than it is tall. I want to make it taller than it is wide. So now it's 768 by 1024, 72. Let's go ahead and just call this hands on. And I'm going to hit create. All right. So to begin, you're going to move this image into this one, and you're going to make it bigger. And so you're going to do a free transform to make this bigger so that it fills the entire screen. And that you're going to have to figure out how to do on your own. Once you've done that, you can have this one. I would recommend continually save. Save it. Save it. Hands on. And then follow the written instructions that I've posted on the homepage. It will walk you through the sequence that I would recommend doing, opening up the PSD files that you made. Those are the ones with the mask. Opening them up one at a time, moving them over, saving the file, then bringing the next one in, dropping it in, saving the file. The whole reason I'm doing this saving is because I do not want this to crash and have you stress out. I really don't want that to be a thing. I am going to do more things to help that. So let me know as we go along if you run into problems, but that is the beginning part of the hands-on. And now the rest of it is going to be read the written instructions and match up your finished hands-on PSD, especially with the layers. You're going to make it look like the one that I have. You got this. I trust you. It's not going to be super complicated. Remember, you can use the help. You can use any notes that you have. You can use whatever you want to do this. I'm not looking to trick you on this. I'm really just wanting to see that you know how to move some stuff over. And if there's stuff that doesn't work, okay, you lose some points on that, and we'll know what it is that you need to learn, and I'll be able to help you with that. Remember, this is just a progress report. All right, good luck, and let me know if you run into technical problems. I'm not going to be able to help you with technique, but if something crashes, definitely let me know.